Vitam Kapit Jambu Uma Sutam Shoka Vinasakaram Namami Vigneshwara Pada Pankajam Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sadashiva Samarambam Sankaracharya Madhyamam Aspinnacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. Namaste, Guruji. Archana here.
Namaste. Namaste, everybody. Sarve
Namaste, Raja.
Swagatam. Welcome to everybody. In particular, we have some new participants. I'd like to welcome Dr. Lekha from the UK, then Ulka from Maryland, Sampath Kumar, Mahapatra, and Gokul from India. So I think it's truly a global meeting, and I'm so happy that you could find the time to join us today morning. Now the microphones are muted so that there is no interference. If anybody is microphone on, so that we will be able to continue with this session. And at the end of the session, I'll unmute them so you can ask the questions. So we are going to start with the session today. And I'm going to give you the slides. I hope you're able to share the slides. And as I said, we are all participants are muted. We started with prayer, and then I'd like to explain to you this prayer to Guru Parampara. As I said, Sanskrit owes its origin to Maheshwara himself, Lord Shiva, from whom these Maheshwarani Sutrani, the 14 Sutrams came, and then it was turned into Sanskrit grammar by Panini. So it starts from Sadashiva Samarambam, Sankaracharya Madhyamam, who came in between, Asmat Acharya Paryantam, up to our Acharyas now, Vande Guru Paramparam. I offer my salutations to the entire lineage of Gurus, Guru Paramparam. So we start with this prayer, and I'm going to give you a very quick review of what we did last, but especially those people who missed last session and joined today. We learned simple ways of greeting in Sanskrit, very easy, and I had explained in the slide how we can do that so easily. Swagatam, Suswagatam, Namo Namaha, Ram Ram, whatever way we can find it easy, we can greet people and explain to you the beauty of Sanskrit, its origin and the unique features of it. And we also covered what are the objectives of our study and what is the approach we propose to adopt. I gave you a very quick overview of alphabets, vowels, consonants, and the pronunciation. And this was all covered in the last introductory session. So we're going further. What are the goals for today and what we are going to learn? We're going to learn basics of Sanskrit. Like we always start with A, B, C, D. We're going to start with basics. What are the unique features of the Devanagari script? And what are the classifications of vowels, the categories of consonants we have? How to write Sanskrit script for those who do not know? How to form consonants? What is a sandhi? I'm going to give you some illustrations and a little bit of grammar basics. What are the cases? I'm going to give you some illustrations. Now, these are the goals for the day today. Going further, what is so unique about Devanagari script? You know, a representation of sound is done by a script. In English, you have the Roman script. But in India, even before Sanskrit arrived, we had what is called Brahmi. That was the script. And from Brahmis, Sanskrit scripts were divided. Grantham they called. In fact, I met a priest in Aurora who was able to recite all the Sanskrit slogas, but he didn't know even a single word of Sanskrit. So I was surprised, and he said he studied everything in Grantham, which preceded Sanskrit. So many of these were originally in Grantham. In fact, I have read Grantham when I was a child. It still have it in the almanacs. Panchangams, you have the Grantha Lipi. And from that was derived the Sanskrit Lipi. They're called Devanagari. There were also, a script called Karoshti. Kara Oshtam, which means the lips of a donkey. The letters were written in such a way that protruded like lips of a donkey. And therefore, it was called Karoshti. It was the forerunner for Persian language script. In Afghanistan and earlier Pakistan, they had this Karoshti as a lipi. So in Europe, most of these scripts were derived from Roman alphabet, Roman script. And for us, the Devanagari script was derived from Brahmi and then Grantham. Some unique features of this is there are no upper and lower cases. You know, in English, you have a capital letter and a small letter. Here, there is no such thing. It's all uniform. And there are no punctuations. You don't have comma, full stop, semicolon, colon, and all that. Nothing is there. And there is no concept of spelling as such. You speak what you write. You know, Mahapariva once recalled an incident. He read a headline in the paper, legislator wound up. And he read it as legislator wound up. He said, wound means injury. How can the legislature get injured? And then he found that the word wound was the past participle of the word wind, which means to close. So the legislator got closed down. So there could be a misunderstanding in the word. Wind, wind. Both are different meaning, even though the spelling is the same. But in Sanskrit, you speak what you write. There is a unique horizontal line on top of words. You can see that. And the sequence of letters is amazingly logical. I will explain to you how it comes in. Going further, the Sanskrit alphabet has got 48 letters, what are called varnas, because they really represent the different hues of the language. 13 of them are vowels called swaras. You know, even in music, you have swaras. Panini said there are 21 swaras. Swara itself means, swa is something which is your own. Like you have Deva's form, Swandam. This is what comes from the word Swa. Swa meaning self. Swaraha means self-luminous. That which shines by itself. That is called Swara. And there are 13 of them. And they are divided into 3 varieties, depending on how you pronounce them or utter them. There is one variety called Hraswa. Hraswa means short in utterance. And that time duration is 1 matra kala. Matra is a measure of time. You can say it is equivalent to the twinkling of an eye. That's a matra. And examples of one matrakala, first-wise, a, e, u, l, r. It's very short. A, e, u, l, r. They are haswa. There is another variety called dirga. Dirga itself means long. Dirga Ishman Baba. You bless people, isn't it? Dirga Ishman Baba. Live long. So dirga it means long in utterance. It has got two matrakalas. For example, a, e, u, r, I. These have got double the time of Raswa. There is a third variety called Pluta, which is extra long, which is 3 matrakala, but you don't normally use it for ordinary Sanskrit. It is mostly used in Vedic mantras, where you have a long utterance, like nasti, na, it's extra long. So you have these 3 ways of uttering, each having a different kind of time duration. And not all vowels have got all the 3 varieties. Most words end in vowels. But there are also words beginning with vowels also. So you have these 3 varieties of vowels. Likewise, you have the consonants into 2 different categories. The consonants are called vyanjana. Anuvejyate iti vyanjanaha. That which is pronounced after it is joined with a swara, that is called vyanjana. And there are 2 categories, as I mentioned. One is a vargiya, which is varga means classification. It is classified into 5 groups, each of 5 letters. That makes it 25. The second category, which is called avargiya, which is non-classified, and you have 8 of them. So you have 33 plus 13, 46, and there are going to be 2 more, which I'll explain in the next slide. Now, these 5 groups, which we saw last time, I explained to you each one of them, how the sound originates in each of them. Now, they are all called sparsha. Sparsha means touch. What touch? The touch of the various components in your mouth. The tongue, the palate. The palate has got different portions, the back portion, the middle portion, and the front portion, and the teeth, and the lips. They all touch in such a way that you produce a set of sounds. That's why it's called sparsha. And even in the order in which they are arranged seem to be very logical, because the first letter is somewhat hard, like ka from the throat. Then becomes a little ka, 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 ga, ga, nga, cha, cha, ja, ja, nga, ta, ta, da, da, na, ta, ta, da, da, na, pa, pa, ba, ba, ma. So you have these consonants, and they are produced in different ways, and they have their 4 names, category of each particular set of sounds, depending on from where it comes. Like the first set is from the throat, therefore it's called guttural. The second one is tongue top to the palate, therefore palatals. And the tongue tip to the roof are called linguals, and the dentals, tongue tip to the teeth. And lastly, the labials, which come through the lips. So this is the vargiya set of consonants, and you have a second category, which is called avargiya, which is non-classified. Now we have ya, ra, lava, which are neither vowels, non-consonants. It is between them, therefore called antastha. Antastha means middle. That's semi-vowels, you can say. And then there are 3 other letters which join. Sa, sha, sa. The last time Archana asked this question, what's the difference? And you can see hissing sound. Sa, sha, sa. The context in which they're used will all be different, which we'll come to a little later. But these are called sibilants because they have a kind of a hissing sound coming in. Sa, sha, sa. The way the tongue operates. Sa, sha, sa. Sha, actually the tongue twists backwards. And you have sa, which is a small hissing sound. And these are called Ushman because they actually produce a little heat when you say, therefore it is called Ushman. And finally, we have one single solitary letter called Ha, which is a pure aspirate. So apart from this, we have two additional letters which are called Anuswara and Visarga, which are like ornaments, and Aha. For example, you say Satyam, Shivam, Ramaha. The ending of this is and Aha. They are adding the beauty to the letter. Therefore, they're called ornamental vowels, Anuswara and Visarga. So going further, we have a very interesting verse here in which you have all the 33 consonants in one verse. So that's the beauty of Sanskrit, that you can compile it all together. Just imagine connecting up A to Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H in one single verse. How would it be? So here, you have all the 30 consonants in one verse. Ka, ka, ga, ga. You can see that, how it is formed. Now, this is taken from one of the books of Bhoja Maharaja. During the days of King Bhoja Maharaja, Kalidasa was his poet. And they had very interesting conversations in Sanskrit, some of which I hope to be able to present in the future sessions. They will be really very poetic, very wonderful, an amazing creation of the language in such a beautiful way. That's the beauty here. And you can see this particular verse is taken from Bhoja Saraswati Kantaparanam. You'll find right from Ka up to Ha, all the consonants on that in one verse. There's another verse, I'm not giving that example here. It has only one vowel and one consonant, Ya and A. It says Ya, 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 2 lines. And every one of them has got a different meaning. And it comes as a verse. So that's really the beauty, that you can compose verses in a beautiful way, like a feat, wonderful feat. You see it in the circus. The same way you find the letters are being played around. And you have a verse which is not only very beautiful, it makes use of the letters in a very, very wonderful way. Okay. So you have these 48 letters. And there are some symbols which you will come across. And they are not really part of the alphabet, they are symbols. Like you have a Chandra Bindu in the letter Om. It's a concave bowl with a dot on top. It's called Chandra Bindu. Gives you the sound And you have what is called Avagraha, a kind of yes, which we saw in the previous slide when I showed you Nasti. An indication that A was dropped. Te api. No, this is again a symbol which is used in between 2 letters coming in. And there is one single vertical line which is really used to indicate the end of a half verse or a sentence. You can say maybe it is equivalent to a comma, but not really a comma. It is called virama. And you'll find mostly in stotrams like Vishnu Sahasranamam, Lalita Sahasranamam, everywhere. There one line at the end of half verse, and then there are two vertical lines which marks the end of a verse or a paragraph. It is called Purna Virama. Purna Virama. So these are some of the special symbols that you have. Now, how to write? Some of you already know how to write, but some of you do not know. So I thought I will just put this slide as an illustrative example. Let me demonstrate here how it is written, like ah. Then you put the line here and a vertical line here and here. That is ah. If you add one more line here, it becomes ah. Likewise, you can write E. And then the vertical line. Now to make it Dirgha E, all you do is just put a horn on top of it. Pretty simple, isn't it? Now, I will also do you oo. How do you write oo? You can write Ru the same way. Oo has got just a little tail. I'll explain to you how you write Ru. And you have one more spring like this here, it becomes Ru. So that's how it's written. Now there are a lot of websites which tell you details of how things are written, and they will tell you typical examples like this. You have all these letters shown how to write it. If anybody wants more information, they can send me an email. I can refer to them a website where you can really practice these letters. So for those who already know, there's no problem. But for those who have no knowledge of writing, I would suggest that you can take a look at this slide and start practicing it. And you can send me an email. I'll give you more information for you to learn writing. Now, who are the people responsible for developing these grammar and a little bit of historical information which you should know? A lot was done by Panini. Now, Panini was a great saint by himself who existed, it believed, some 500 years before Christ. And he was a student of a guru called Varsha. He was presumed to be a very dull student. And once the guru admonished him, and he went and prayed in the Himalayas to Lord Shiva and got these Maheswarani Sutrani as a blessing from him, based on which he wrote a treatise called Ashtadhyayi. Ashta means 8, Dhyaya means chapters, 8 chapters, which is still used as a reference for Sanskrit grammar. Vara Ruchi, also called Katyayana, He was also a contemporary of Panini. He expanded Panini's work and wrote a book called Vartikam. And a third important person, a saint, his name was Patanjali, and he authored the commentary on Panini's Ashtadhyayi. That commentary is called Mahabhashyam. Bhashyam itself means commentary. Mahabhashyam means big commentary, very, very detailed commentary. So these three sages, they are the forefathers of Sanskrit language, where they evolved the grammar. Panini wrote close to 4,000 sutras or formula, which is a very, very extensive kind of work. And Vararuchi and Patanjali supplemented it with their own work. And all that we do today in Sanskrit owes to them, these three sages. And therefore, they are historical sages. And I thought I should just mention this casually to know what is the history behind the language. Let's see about how to form consonants. Now, you have a couple of examples here where a letter is either preceded or followed by a vowel, like ak. A is a vowel and kha is a consonant. So they join together. Ik, E again, is a vowel, kha is a consonant. Ki, the consonant comes first, but E, which is a vowel, follows it. Similarly, ku, you have ka followed by u, and you see the tail under down, that represents u. So below I have given you the English transliteration too, for those who are not able to read it. Ak, ik, ki, ku. So this is one way of forming consonants, which is preceded or followed by vowel. You also have some words where two consonants combine together, like for example, Shankara, Panchadasi, Nitya, Mitya. You see, ng and ka, they join together. Ng and nga and cha join together. Ta and ya join together. We have also got certain conjuncts with more than two letters, like achintya. You have na and tha broken in half and joined with a full ya. So you have two letters which join together and talk achintya. There are also certain special forms like Shvetambar, Sruti. These are all some special forms which you'll learn as you go along. So the point here is the consonants are formed in different ways, and you have to know how these formation takes place. And when you go for future study, you know there are different ways of forming the consonants. There is another one which is called the sandhi. Now, sandhi is a very, very important term in Sanskrit, because most of the words you'll find when you go into detailed Sanskrit, they have what is called sandhi. What does sandhi mean? Sandhi means joining. It's a combination. It is a euphonic combination which is done to enhance the beauty of pronunciation. The word sandhi itself has got two. It's a sandhi is a joint of what? A prefix called sam. I explained to you in the very first lesson, Shankara, how it came. Sam and kara. Samskritam. Sam and kritam. That which is done well. Samskaram. That which ought to be done well. Likewise here, sam is combined with the root dha. Dha means, to hold. Vishwadharam, one who holds the universe, to hold. So the is the root of the here. Some and the, when they become sandhi, it means to hold together. It's like an adhesive, a glue which holds together two things. Some very easy examples. Bhagavad Gita. No, Bhagavad and Gita are two different words. Bhagavad relating to Bhagavan, of Bhagavan. Gita is another word, song. So two different words joined together called Bhagavad Gita. And you see how it is written. The and ga are put together to get Gita, Bhagavad Gita. So I'm going to give you one sentence as an example where the words are split and how they are combined. Ascharavat paschati kaha chit yenam. Ascharya means wonder. Ascharyavat, it is. Paschati, sees. Kaha chit yenam, one sees it. Chit yenam, chit is to the mind. When you combine it, you see how it pronounced together. Ascharvat paschati kaschitenam. Ascharvat paschati kaschitenam. So it is all joined together. The first three words, Ascharvat paschati in one, and kaha chit yenam in the second part. So you get only two words, Ascharvat paschati kaschitenam. So that is the example of sandhi that we have. Going further, I'm going to give you a slogan which all of you probably know, which is an example of simple sandhi formation. Shuklam Baradaram Vishnum Sashivarnam Chadurbhujam Prasannavadanam Jayet Sarvavigno Upashantaye. This is a simple verse, a slogan which we always use before starting a ritual. Shuklam is one word. What does it mean? Shuklam means white. Ambaram. Ambaram is a garment. We said Shvetambaram. Shvetam is also white. Shukla Ambaram means white garment. Dharam. We explained in the previous slide, Dhara, right? In Sandhi. Dhara means one who wears it. One who wears the white garment. Vishnum is one word. Not referring to Mahavishnu here. Vishnu here means somebody who is omnipresent. Vishnu itself means present everywhere, omnipresent. Shashi Varnam. Shashi refers to the moon. Varnam is color. Shashi, moon, and Varnam is color. Moon colored. Chatur means four. Bhujam means arms. Four arms, with four arms. You know, Ganesha has four arms. Prasanna, one word. Pleasing. Vadanam, face. Pleasing face. Yayet, pray, meditate. Sarva, all. Vigna, obstacles. Upashantaye, may they be removed. So you see how many words are there. But all these are combined in Sandhi formations. When you recite, you say Shuklam Baradaram Vitnam Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Jayat Sarva Vignopashantaye. See how fast it goes. But if you were to learn each of them, you will know the meaning. So I meditate upon that God who has a white garment, who is omnipresent, who has the color of a moon, who has four arms, always having a pleasing face. I meditate upon that God to remove all my obstacles. So that's the meaning of this slokam. And it's an example of how sandhis form and how sentences get formed. I'm going to give you one little example of a very elegant conversation between a young student of Sanskrit and a teacher. Teacher is asking, Ka tvam bale. Who are you, little girl? Ka tvam bale. And the girl answers, Kanchana Mala. She just tells her name. Instead of saying, my name is Kanchana Mala, she says Kanchana Mala. Kasyaha putri. See, only two words. In English, you have four words. Whose daughter are you? Kasyaha putri. And she answers again in one word, Kanakalathayaha. In English, you have three words, daughter of Kanakalathaya. But here, Kanakalathayaha means I am the daughter of Kanakalata. Haste kimte. What is in your hand? Haste means hand. Kim means what? Haste kimte. What is it that you have in hand? Tali patram. Patram is referred to various things like a leaf or a writing pad. Tali patram means a writing pad. Kava reka. Reka is actually, you also have rekas in your palm, right? What is written on your palm? People read it to tell your fortune. Here it says Kava reka. What is written on the pad? Ka ka ga ga. She says the alphabets ka ka ga ga are written on it. Just 4 lines, but a very elegant, very simple conversation. I thought this should be an example to show how beautiful the conversation takes place in Sanskrit. There will be many more as you go along. Okay, we come to basics of grammars. The 3 genders, masculine, feminine, and neuter. But unlike English, you've got 3 numbers here. In English, you have singular and dual. Here it is singular, plural, and dual. So in each case, the grammar will be different. So it makes it a little more complicated. So remember, singular, plural, dual. So there are 2 people, 2 trees, 2 flowers. The grammar changes. There are various case relationships between the noun and the verb and the object. 8 cases: nominative, accusative, instrumental, dative, ablative, genitive, locative, and vocative. Don't get confused with these names. I'm going to give you examples so it's easier for you to remember what is what. Okay, I'm just giving you this because you have to understand there are 8 different cases. And what are these cases? They are basically functional relationships in a sentence. Like a nominative is referring to a person, like Rama, Krishna. Accusative is an object, who. Instrumental, by, with whom. Dative, to who. Ablative, from, then, out of. It's a comparison. Genitive, belonging to whom, of, possession. Locative, in, on, at, among whom. Vocative is directly addressing someone. Again, don't get confused with this. It is just to show that these cases represent functional relationships. I'm going to give you some example which will explain to you further what it is all about. Let's say a verse on Rama. It's very easy to remember these verses. this verse which tells you all the 8 cases. I'll read it out for you. And there is English transliteration available in the next 2 slides. Ramo Rajamanihi Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje. Ramena Abhihata Nisachara Chamuhu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Rama Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Daso Asyaham. Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhavatume Ho Rama Mam Uddhara. It was also a prayer, but it's a prayer which tells you all the 8 cases in just 4 lines. How? Next slide. Ramo. Ramo is me Rama. It's a first person. It's a subject. Therefore, it becomes Ramo. Rajamanihi Sada Vijayate. Rajamanihi Sada Vijayate are adjectives. Rajamanihi is jewel among the kings. Sada Vijayate means always victorious. O refers to Ramo and therefore becomes a nominative case. Ramam Ramesham Bhaje. Whom do I worship? The object, Rama here. So it becomes accusative. Ramena Abhihata Nishachara Chamuhu. Nisha means night. Chara means to walk. Who walks in the night? Especially in the alleys. You go to New York, you'll get scared to go. Nishachara Chamuhu means those evil bad guys who go during the night time. They are called Nishachara Chamuhu. And here they refer to the Ravana's armies, the bad guys. Ramena Abhihita. They were killed by Rama's armies. So by whom? Here Rama's killed Ravana's armies. So instrumental. Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. To whom do I bow down? To that Rama I bow down, which is the dative case. Raman Nasti Parayanam Paratparam. There is no, it's a comparison. There is no better way than worshipping Rama. Ramasya Daso Asyaham. Whom do I belong to? I am the servant of Rama. So it becomes a genitive case, whose belongs to. Ramo Chittala Sada Bhavatume, which is among. Where does my mind dwell? Among. It is within Rama. May my mind dwell in that Rama. And lastly, it is directly addressed to Rama, Ho Rama, Mamuddara, O Rama, which is a vocative case, save me. So in 2 verses, you have the illustration of all the 8 cases. Now, there will be more of these when you start actually the conversation part of it. And there will be more such examples of cases coming in later. But right now, you just remember these 2 verses. They represent all the 8 cases and try to memorize it. So at this time, I think we would like to stop because the grammar in Sanskrit is very structured. It's much more detailed than English grammar, or for that matter, any other language. So it will take quite some time for you to get familiar with the grammar part of it. I don't want to burden you with too much of it right now. The grammar is bound by more rules than any other language. and it's kind of algebraic in nature. It's more like mathematics. You can view a Sanskrit sentence like a string of objects. Every object is a meaningful word, and these words are all made up of syllables. So when constructing sentences, you have to see how the string is joined up together, how the folds come together. And if, for example, if A, B, C, D, E, F is a string, then A, B, C, D, E, F each one will be a unit by itself, and each unit will have its own meaning also. But the meaning will change depending on the location. Like if B comes adjacent to E, then the meaning is different. If B comes adjacent to A, then the meaning is different. So there are different ways of permutation and combination, and the way you put those together reflects the beauty. If you want to enjoy the beauty of Himalayas, you can see a picture, but still doesn't convey you the exact beauty. You have to really go there and see to enjoy such a beautiful mountain. Likewise, here you have to really experience this when you do that. So now I'm going to give you the exercise for next session, which will be practice the Guru Vandanam, which I said earlier, and learn to pronounce and write Sanskrit, review Sandhi formation, and review all the 8 cases. With that, I'm going to stop this session and unmute all of you so we can have questions. Yeah.